Hi, hello, welcome back to the Zelda Creators Modcast. I'm your host, back again with Joey, and this time our new mod, Lunar.
Yay!
Lunar, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Lunar. I'm a mod here, and I mostly do digital painting. I do a lot of illustrations and stuff like that.
Do amazing illustrations. Don't sell yourself short.
Thank you.
Very fancy backgrounds, I must say.
Yes, definitely. Alright, cool. It's awesome to have Lunar here. It's awesome to see you again too, you.
Glad to have you back, Joey, especially with our special program today, because today's episode is all about Breath of the Wild 2. And for that occasion, we have an interview with Joey, who has a special project going on right now all around Breath of the Wild 2 and her interpretation on what the story could be.
Yay! Yes, I do.
So we're going to start with our interview. Joey, do you maybe want to introduce yourself again?
Yeah, sure. So, hey everyone, I'm JoeyJ, or you can just call me Joey, either works. I'm an art teacher by day and a Zelda fan by night. Well, I'm kind of a Zelda fan all the time, but that's when I do most of my Zelda-ing. I've somewhat recently returned to the Zelda franchise, but I'm back in it more now than I ever was, because I have this new comic called Bond of Legends, which is my main project going on right now. But I also have other side projects I do, including collabs and a bit of designs. And I'm also one of the mods and managers for the Zelda Creators Discord.
Amazing. Are you ready to answer some questions for us?
I'm super ready.
Exactly. This time we actually ask you on the Discord to send in some questions, and I want to give a big thank you to everyone who did. So I'm giving the word to Luna, who has the first question for Joey.
So the first question we have for you is, what is your big project, Bond of Legends, and what inspired you to create it?
Yeah, so Bond of Legends is an interactive Zelda comic, which basically serves as a Breath of the Wild 2 story while we wait for the actual game to come out, because, you know, we've been waiting a pretty long time for it, so we have time to make our own stories. I've done my best to take what we've seen and what we know about Breath of the Wild 2 so far and put it into like a fully fleshed out story. And I came up with the idea. I was gonna make a YouTube video. No, I did make a YouTube video where I came up with like a very vague theory plot for Breath of the Wild 2, and I didn't really plan to go into any more depth in it because I didn't really know much about the lore at the time, so I was kind of just making some stuff up with the little lore that I knew. And I like drew some artwork in the video as well. And I put it out there, and it did like decently well for a video of mine at the time, but all of the comments were like these crazy Zelda lore people saying things such as like, this theory makes no sense because this, that, and the other thing, but I like your artwork. It was like all of the comments were just like, yeah, this makes no sense. Like, your art's nice, but this makes no sense.
Crazy.
Yeah, so I was kind of just determined to like get super into the lore and come back with another video, but that like made a lot more sense. But then I ended up joining Zelda Creators, the Discord, and just like through interacting with people there, I started thinking like, oh, maybe I should just make this like a huge thing, like a comic, and it kind of sprawled from there.
Wow. So it's like a big redemption arc for you.
Yeah, that video's not...
to show all of those Zelda historians that you know better.
Yeah, now I'm the master. It's still probably...
Now Joey says what's going on.
It's still probably wrong in some ways, just because the lore is like freaking crazy, but I think it's better than my first idea, which that video's not up anymore, not because I am ashamed of it or anything. I actually still really like it, but some of the things that I said in that video are still holding true to the story now, so I didn't want it to be out there and like spoil people from some things that are gonna happen.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we all have read your comic up to the most recent update, and in your comic the Sonai are very prominent. Why did you choose that race specifically, and what do you like about them, and what makes them special to you? We all know that Tuft is special to us, but what is special to you, Joey?
Yes, Tuff is very special to everyone in the Zelda Discord, and I'm sure we'll talk more about him soon. But the Zonai, just in general, the first reason I decided to explore them was kind of the same reason as a lot of people are interested in them now, is because when the first Breath of the Wild 2 trailer came out, we saw like the green glowy stuff, the Zonai ruins caves, the like ominous music in the background of the trailer, all that stuff made people go like, oh, it's the Zonai, you know? And I was kind of on that hype train as well, that we could be possibly exploring like a whole new race in Breath of the Wild 2. So yeah, I'm like, that was kind of my main first reason to like explore them, is just because of the potential that they had and the possibility of them being in the next game. Why I find them interesting, I think why most people find them interesting is because they were never really talked about. There's like traces of them in Breath of the Wild. We see their history throughout the open world, but they're never actually talked about, so there's a lot of mystery behind them. And the Zelda team did this amazing thing with them that is referred to as silent world building, and it's something that I hope to continue to utilize in my comic as well. There's this excellent video on YouTube that explains what silent world building is. I highly recommend it. It's by Savage Books, and they use Avatar: The Last Airbender as an example of how it's used. You guys know that show?
Yes, it's my favorite.
It's my favorite too, so I highly recommend this video because he deep dives into this stuff. It's absolutely amazing. And I take a lot of my story building and like my history of what the Zonai are, I take a lot of inspiration from that show, so highly recommend checking it out, even if it's for that reason alone. But to summarize, silent world building is when you're like explaining the world through visuals and actions rather than explicitly through characters or other sources that are directly explaining something. When you're drawing explicit attention to something, it's usually through words. That's what's called active world building, which is the opposite of silent world building. In Breath of the Wild, there's lots of silent world building for the Zonai, and that's shown through the Zonai ruins. We can see where most of them are on the Breath of the Wild map, the types of structures they had and how old they look. We also get the Zonai armor. All of this is silently telling us about the Zonai. So there's like very few words given to us about them, but otherwise all we know about them is based off of piecing together these context clues through the given visuals. And I think that makes people interested because it gives them a lot of mystery, but we can also naturally, like, we get a chance to come up with our own version of what the Zonai are, and I think that connects with us more. Like, we make those connections on our own, so it feels more meaningful to us. But yeah, that being said, I hope to like still utilize silent world building while exploring the Zonai in my comic, but also like using more active world building to help fill the gaps that the Zelda team is like yet to fill in themselves about the Zonai.
Thinking about that video, I think I saw it. I think I'm actually a follower of that YouTube channel talking about Avatar a lot, right?
They say it a lot better than I did, so I recommend it.
Maybe we can link it below.
Yeah.
Awesome. Luna, do you want to go next?
So you have many OCs that are starring in your comic. Do you want to tell us about them?
I sure can. A lot of my OCs, if you're in the Zelda Discord, you probably already know about a lot of them because they just seem to be kind of popular there. I know, I'm super thankful for that. I'm so glad you guys like them. The main new characters that we see in the comic come from the Zonai race, if that wasn't already obvious from my last answer. Yeah, we explore a lot of the Zonai race, and there's a lot of side character Zonai that make appearances, but the main three are Chief Mar, Tuft, and Jed. We're going to see a lot of them. I won't spoil too much in case anyone here listening hasn't even started reading the comic yet, so I'm going to be like pretty vague, but I'll give like a little info about each of them. So Chief Mar is obviously the Zonai chief, it's in the name. She cares a lot for her people, but tends to show that care in like a strict and emotionalist way. She seems to just be like focusing on the task ahead, trying to avoid all other feelings she may have about certain things or certain people, which we'll learn more about as the story progresses, but there's obviously some underlying issues and feelings there that she's avoiding. She also has her adopted son, which is Tuft, though she never really refers to him as her son. Again, just kind of really focusing on the task, not really getting into relationships that much. But yeah, Tuft will be the Zonai we probably see the most in the entire comic. He has been trained vigorously by Chief Mar to help the chosen hero when, quote unquote, when the time comes. Again, to avoid spoilers, I'll just say we learn why he's chosen to help the hero a little ways into the comic, but otherwise, like, in general, he's just a very joyful, kind of impulsive and childish guy. He's also, like, the best warrior that the Zonai have, other than the chief. So he's very loyal and mature when it comes to his tribe and his task, but, like, when he's not around them, he's kind of a silly, immature dude. And then we have Jed, and I'm actually probably not going to say anything about Jed, just because I haven't really said a lot about him in the comic yet, but even the little bit that I have said, you probably just read the comic and go from there. He's kind of important, but, you know. I'm not going to get into him. I think you got to read the comic and find out.
I know a bit about Jed. I think you told us.
Yeah, we know a little bit. We know a little bit about him already in the... If you haven't read it
we
yet...
know that he's very handsome.
Yeah, he's just another handsome Zonai like they all are.
Yeah.
Look, they're warriors. They gotta be buff. They gotta be strong. So handsomeness just comes with it. It's just a natural course of events. No. But yeah, we also have other like non-Zonai characters like Ukurai and Aim. Sometimes I pronounce it Amy, sometimes I pronounce it Aim. Either's fine.
Yeah, I was also wondering if it's actually Amy or Aim.
I usually use Aim, but Amy is fine too. I don't really have I wrote out the word and I was like, I don't know how to pronounce this, but that's gonna be your name. So anything works.
It's the one that people read in their head when they read the comic.
Yeah.
That's the correct one.
Yeah, that's whatever you're thinking, yes. I'm actually probably not going to spoil her either, since it takes a while for her first appearance. That character's out there. You'll run into her. Ukurai I can explain a little bit. A lot of people also just call him Rai for short. Guess what he is? He's an Uka, everyone's favorite strange human bird creature. They're back. So the Uka have a part in this story as well. And especially Rai, he has a close relationship with the Zonai due to like his ability to receive messages about a prophecy that the goddesses have told him about. And he relays those messages mostly to the Zonai because they're highly involved in it. And that's a lot to take in. But yes, the Uka are part of the comic, and we'll learn about their relationship and their importance to the story. And there's more new characters that we will meet, some of which are my own and others that are actually borrowed from other creators from the Zelda Creators Discord group, with their permission, of course. So I'm excited to get to borrow them and get to talk more about them when the time comes. But those are kind of the main ones for now.
Excited to see. I also have sent in one of my OCs.
Yes, me too.
Yes, you
Yeah,
have.
I'm excited to see her.
I'm excited. Yeah, you both.
Cool. Do you have a favorite canon character that you like seeing interacting with your OCs? And if so, which one and why? This question was sent in by Mickey Taco on Discord.
Oh, man. Thank you, Mickey. I have a lot of favorites, just for different reasons. So maybe if there's time at the end, I can explain more of those relationships. But I'll talk about two a little bit. So I think Link and Tuft is kind of like the classic one amongst the Discord and just anyone who's been following along with the comic is they're just kind of a classic duo.
We love the bromance.
Yeah, the possibly romance, who knows. Yeah, it's funny because with them, like, you know, Link doesn't talk. At least we don't ever see him talk. I made him like kind of more reserved and like kind of in a constant state of confusion, at least right at the beginning, because there's a lot going on that he's kind of doesn't really know what's going on.
I find it very authentic.
And rightfully so. Yeah, he's just in a constant state of confusion. And that's been fun to combine with Tuft's like impulsive and energetic personality. And Link will like loosen up more soon once he realizes more of what's going on and gets more used to it. But yeah, so they're like a classic one. But if I was to like pick a favorite, I don't know if I have a favorite, but I could say something about like the one that's like the most interesting to me, I guess. And we haven't seen a whole lot of it yet, but I would say it's probably Jed and Link. I think it's interesting because we don't actually ever see Link talk other than like voting on how he responds to characters sometimes, but that's kind of like very in the background. I try to go with Link having like legit lines of dialogue only like written out for like people to vote on. He doesn't really talk a lot. And now he's got Jed with him, who I know I haven't really talked about yet, but he's also not able to speak, at least not in his current state. But we will find out that he's able to communicate in other sorts of ways. So I find their relationship interesting because neither of them can talk, but they do have this weird relationship that we're going to see more of, and they'll find ways to communicate with each other. Again, I'm being super vague, but it is an interesting relationship, and if you're reading the comic, you'll see why.
I think I already know.
And if there's time, I
already
can.
know why.
What is that? yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah, I can't wait to see more of them.
Yes.
Also, Paya and Tuft.
Yes, Paya and Tuft is another classic, which is hilarious to me because we haven't even met in the comic yet, but I kind of just spoiled that like right off the bat. I'm like, oh yeah, these two are going to be together because I couldn't contain myself. They're too adorable.
Yeah, there's plenty of fan art. We're going to put some in here so you can see. Thanks, Joey.
Yes, please insert the fan art and some of my own fan art. I'm my own fan of them.
We all are fan of Tuft and Paya.
Well, they're cute because, like, they have a lot in common when it comes to, like, kind of being sheltered. But Paya's, at least the way I've written her, is more like by choice. She's just kind of a naturally introverted, shy person, whereas Tuft doesn't have a lot of relationships not by choice. So they kind of relate, but don't relate in that way, and it's been really fun I already have a lot of scenes written out with them that the public hasn't seen yet. That dynamic is a lot of fun, because Tuft is he's a lot to handle, and she can't handle all of it usually.
Aww.
But they can still relate in a lot of ways, so they'll figure it out. Don't worry.
That's really lovely. Thank you.
Sure.
So, Luna, you have the next question.
So this one is also from Mickey. Can you walk us through your process for Bond of Legends from initial concept to completed update that we see on Instagram? How long does it usually take? What does it look like as far as story outline, and how does that compare to the finished product?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. That's good, though. I like loaded questions, so thank you again, Mickey. Yeah, so my process is probably going to sound like pretty odd to most other artists out there. But before I go into like the art process, I just quickly want to go over like my story outline process, which is literally just written on notes on my computer. Everything is just notes on my computer. I have things saved in like multiple spots just in case. I usually just use my notes feature on my computer because it can also transfer to my phone, which is super useful. Because a lot of times I'm like on a car ride or something and I have an idea, but I'm like, I don't have my computer on me. So I'm thankful that the notes feature can transfer between the two. I only really have notes on like key concepts for each chapter with certain scenes written out completely already. Usually like the more important scenes, I've like completely written out all the dialogue. Otherwise, I only have most like 1 to 5 posts planned out in advance. Sometimes I don't have anything planned out in advance and I'm just like sitting there on my computer like, okay, what are they gonna say? I'm drawing this out as I go and figuring it out. Sometimes I'll just like throw in a joke, fill up some time. It makes character development, so it's fine. Yeah, my notes for the scene are usually just like a few sentences that include, okay, what are we gonna see in the panel? Who's talking? What are they saying? That's pretty much it. And then I also number them because I post exclusively on Instagram. I'm only on Instagram, and Instagram posts are 1 to 10 pictures per post. So I have to like plan out, because I post a few pages at a time. I try to shoot for like once a week. So I have to plan out like how many pages I have because I can't go over 10 pages each time. I usually shoot between like 4 to 8 pages, and I try to stop at like a good cliffhanger point. But yeah, that's like my writing process. And I'll try to quickly go over my art process. So yeah, like I said, the art process is going to sound like really weird to digital artists because I feel like most artists, especially for comics and stuff like that, they'll sketch out some of the thumbnails before going head into the final product for each page. That's really useful. You should do that. I don't do it, but you should do it. One of the main reasons is because the software that I use to make the comic is Illustrator. Do you guys know what Illustrator is?
Yeah, I do.
Not quite. I use other stuff.
Yeah, if you don't know, it works with vector images, and I can explain those a tad. Yeah. It's usually used for like graphic design stuff like logos and maybe social media graphics. And that's kind of weird to make full-on art pieces with. Working with vector images is much different because on Photoshop you can like draw, sketch, and paint kind of similar to like you would with an actual physical canvas. But with vector images, if I was like to put it simply, they're just like shapes that you can mold to your liking, which is why it can make really clean looking logos. That's what, vector images are. People always comment on like how clean my colors and my line art are, and they're like, how do you make it look so good? I'm like, it's because it's Illustrator, like does that for you. It's also super easy to like move around your work. So that's like another reason why I do it, is because I'm trying to get these comics out weekly. So I need to be able to like easily move stuff around and make kind of just these shapes and stuff to use and reuse. That's kind of why I went with Illustrator. And you might like hear all of that and
Joey,
think,
that is crazy.
What?
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Working with making a whole comic with vector images. Joey, that's insanity.
It's really, yeah. If you know, then you know.
Yeah, I had to do for a school project work with vector images, and I only barely could do a fish.
I absolutely hated. I only learned about vector images and Illustrator and stuff when I got into college. And I was so frustrated with the classes that I had, because I was like, this is dumb. This is not how like what is this?
I will never use this information. Why are you relaying it on me?
So I don't recommend it. But I've gotten very, very used to it. I don't know, maybe to some people who don't know what it is, it might sound like it's easy, like, oh, you can reuse images and reshape them to your liking rather than redrawing the entire thing. No, it's not easy. Imagine you have to create a character, but you only can cut out pieces of paper and glue them together, and you have to layer them all in the right way so that the arm is in front of the shoulder and blah, blah, blah. It's a very weird process, but I've just gotten very used. And maybe I'll make like a video on it sometime, because I don't think I've ever put any video out there of like how I make the comics. But maybe if I put something out there, people will understand the insanity.
Yeah, please do. I'm really interested now on how you do this. I cannot imagine it. It must be so difficult.
It's become much easier for me now. Like, I get super fast at it now. But yeah, when I was first doing it, I was like, should I maybe not do this?
Maybe it's a bad idea.
I don't know. I'm stuck with it now. No, I do like it. But yeah, that's my art process.
But now that it's vector images, that allows it to be really crisp. So do you have any future plans on releasing a physical copy then?
I don't know. I actually have a friend who took all of my comic pages that I've made so far, and he lives in Vietnam, so he's just like, oh, I have like a super easy, like not expensive way to print these out. I don't know why. He's a nice guy. Shout out to my friend Travis.
Because maybe he was the inspiration for Tuft?
He's partially, yeah. He was gonna be a potential voice actor if I was to do voice acting. That's still out there as a possibility. He said he would do it. He's kind of got the same childish side. No offense, Travis. Love you, man. but you do have some similar personality traits to Tuff. He's a super nice guy, and he wants to print out some of my stuff, I think. So yes, technically there's gonna be a physical copy out there. Maybe I'll do more with that in the future. I'm not sure yet.
Great, honestly. I would love to see that. I'd buy that.
Oh, thank you. Awesome. I'll try to get some good pricing, maybe throw in a couple stickers, who knows.
That would be awesome. Like a special release with stickers and extra fan art, like a big poster of Tuft and Mar and Link. Oh, I would love that.
I do want to make some posters and stuff. That is in the future. I have some ideas in mind.
Buy all of the Tuft.
All of the Tuft. Shout out to Tuft.
All of them. Shout out to Tuft, we love you.
Tuft, I know you're listening. You fictional character. I know you're out there.
He's really in all of our hearts.
Yeah, that's where he is. Just search within yourself.
Yeah, Tuft is in all of us. Okay, so our next question comes from our very own Buff Hestu.
Hey.
In regard to the interactive components on Bond of Legends, how much does it affect your writing and art process?
Good question. So for those who don't know, it's an interactive story, at least somewhat. I haven't done many interactive components recently because we're still kind of near the beginning of the comic, so I've been having to fill in like some exposition and stuff. So I'm like, I don't really have space to put in interactive components, but they're coming back. Don't worry. It'll get more interactive as we start to like venture out there more. The interactive components actually go more in depth than some of my followers may even know, like the ones that are just on Instagram. If you were here like in the Zelda Creators Discord near the beginning actually of the Discord, I had the idea of including other creators' original characters into the comic. I just thought that it would be like a lot of fun. It would increase interest because more people would be involved with portions of the story. So I made like a form way back in the day for people to submit their OCs and tell me about them, and then I'd message them with details after I've looked at all the information and see how we could like include them into some portion of the comic. The form is technically closed now for the time being. There's some people I still need to like check in with again and just make sure that they're still on board because it's been a while. I believe I have at least 10 OCs that aren't mine that were submitted and will make a cameo in at least a scene or two, which is kind of interesting because if you talk to all those people, you would have like a big portion of the comic because they know it's like, oh yeah, I know that this is happening because my character is making an appearance in that scene or whatever. I still need to like talk to some people about this specifics.
Yeah, I remember I actually filled out that form.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah, I have all the forms filled out. Some people, they threw in like another character, and I was just like, no, you don't need to fill out the form again. Like, we'll just like, it got a little more. I don't know. I just wanted to be very specific when I first put it out there, and then after a while, like once I kind of had a better idea of what was going on and how I was going to include characters, it was just easier to just chat with people and get the information I needed. Yeah, so I mention all of that because these original characters that people have allowed me to borrow, including you guys, thank you very much, they've definitely influenced what direction I've taken those portions of the story. Because, you know, like depending on the characters' personalities, like where they come from, that kind of stuff influenced what sort of situations I would have my main characters get into with those original characters. And sometimes that changed like what would happen next, and it was like it kind of became like a domino effect. Oh, I have this character doing this thing, which means now they're going to go into this situation, which means now they'll do this. But there's other interactive components that they don't affect the ending of the story, by the way. That's interactive actually affects where the main story is going. That's already planned out. But there's things like fans being able to choose what clothing Link wears or other characters wear, and like what certain characters say to other certain characters. It'll affect like small portions of the story. It'll just affect like certain interactions and stuff, but it doesn't affect the final plot. It still affects like my motivation for the comic, you know? When I see, like, I always love getting likes and comments from people saying how much they enjoy the story. Something about those interactive components can really just give me motivation to be like, oh, they're getting into it, you know? And it helps me learn more about my audience too, depending on what's voted on more. They like this outfit more than this one.
Great.
Yeah.
I just went back on our conversation and I read up what you wrote me about the story.
Oh yeah.
It was not much, but I know something.
I'll come back to you. Your character is actually going to be one of the first that we get run into, so I need to, yeah.
We love to see Freya. She's my baby. Okay, so we have one more question submitted by Buff Hestu, and Lunar is going to ask you.
Is Bond of Legends a make it up as you go for the end of the series, or is it an ongoing story with no end?
The series does have an end. I do have, like I mentioned earlier, like I have a summary for each chapter already planned out with some scenes completely written, but otherwise there's like big portions of the story that I don't have planned out at all. I just have like a general idea of what's going to happen. And one of the reasons I do that is because this is supposed to be a story that's a theory for Breath of the Wild 2. This is my idea of what the game could possibly be. It can be difficult because we're constantly getting new information about the game, albeit usually it's really small and vague whenever we get Breath of the Wild information. But I'm trying my best to take everything that we know about the game, including new stuff that's coming in, and like adding it to the story. So I kind of leave some spots open in case I need to like throw in some new component from some new trailer that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think we don't have this question here, but I want to know, how stressful is it when there is the prospect of a new trailer on the horizon? How do you feel?
It's insanely stressful. It's so funny too because, you know, whenever there's a new trailer, new information that drops, our Discord server and also online on social media, everyone's like, woo, you know, this new information. And I'm just here with my head in my hands going like, oh, geez. No.
Joey is sweating. Everybody's making fan art, but Joey is sweating.
Yeah, I don't have time to make fan art. I have time to make facts. I gotta make theories. No, I mean...
Facts are irrelevant.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited for the game, and I'm glad that we're getting more information about it. I do have to face facts that I'm like, okay, Bond of Legends is not Breath of the Wild 2, you know? Like, there's just going to be a point where I can't keep adding information that we're getting from new trailers, because at some point, this comic's going to be way too, like, fleshed out already for me to make alterations and stuff based on new news.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, if I can fit it into the story, then I will, but otherwise it's like, I already have these characters that I really love, I have these situations I put them in that I want to stick to, so if the new information can work with that, then sure, I'll still throw it in, but if we get something like some huge plot point that obviously doesn't go with the ideas that I have for the story, then I'm like, alright, no.
Yeah, it's best to keep the Bond of Legends comics your very own thing.
Yeah.
And just come to terms with that Breath of the Wild 2 is just going to be something else.
Yeah, it just is.
Heartbreaking, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Our next question is from Jimmy Jims on Discord, and Lunar is going to ask,
How do you think the map of Hyrule will expand in the sequel? Do you have any predictions that...
Yeah, so we've already kind of seen some of that. We started at one of those possible expanded areas. I created the Zonai's main area that they live, which is the Water Dragon Temple. That's where the very beginning of Bond of Legends happens, so it's not really a spoiler. But it's where the Zonai are hanging out. It's up in the sky. I based this area off of, there's like a weird looking building or something in the background of one of the scenes where Link is like soaring through the sky. You can only really see the top of it because the rest of it's covered by clouds, so that I worked off of that tiny little bit of something that we saw in the trailer to make my theory of what that could possibly be. And of course with like the Uka and stuff, I hope the Uka make a return. I don't know if they will. In my story they do. And we're gonna see where they live and all of that. So that's another prediction that I throw into the comic. You know, we're obviously gonna get some new places in the sky, and I make a lot of those in my comic, so I guess those are my predictions. We haven't gotten to all of them yet, but let's just say obviously it's influenced from other games that had sky locations such as Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword. I work a lot off of those. I think those are like the two main games that I kind of fused into my story. So yes, a lot of my predictions kind of work off of things that we've already seen. Every new Zelda game kind of recreates each location and each character and each creature to look a little different. Like, I do the same thing. So yes, we see the Uka, and yes, we were going to see these locations that have been shown in previous games, but I want to put my own spin onto it because that's a typical Zelda thing to do.
We love that.
Yeah.
So, are there any other projects you're currently working on besides Bond of Legends?
My job. I have a job. I have two jobs, actually, for those who don't know. I'm a very busy person. And actually, when I started working on Bond of Legends, I was also getting my master's degree. So that was super difficult. I was only getting out a couple pages like once a month. But I'm not doing that anymore, so I have a little more time. But no, projects, I don't know. I think I said it earlier, but I'm involved in like little projects that we do on Zelda Creators all the time, the Discord. I try to get into Zines. I don't always succeed, but
yeah,
you know.
we know about Zines.
Yeah, I don't fret about it too much just because Bond of Legends takes up so much of my time anyway.
Yeah,
so I'm like, if I don't, it's probably for the better that I don't get into all of those. Yeah, but no.
Bond of Legends is so big. I couldn't imagine doing something this big and then doing something else as well.
Yeah,
Next
I
to
always
two
try.
jobs.
Yeah, I always try, and then whenever I actually get into something, I'm like, oh crap, I don't have time for this. Why did I sign up?
Aw.
Yeah.
But
No,
you're very involved.
Bond of Legends is kind of the only like legit project I have going on. I'm gonna be at the Linktober Creator Con, but that's mostly to just promote Bond of Legends, so it's still along the same lines.
Taking every opportunity, we love it.
Yes.
And our last question going to be asked by Lunar.
What is your role in the Zelda Creators Mod team?
I don't know. No,
What are you doing, Joey?
What do I do? No, I mean, I think Buff gave me like a role to be like the event planner, but which I do. I do help with like a lot of the events. I help get them organized and plan them out and stuff, but that's like a team thing, really. You guys have all been involved in like the event planning.
Yeah, but I
stuff.
think you're the main person taking lead on all of the events and all of our stuff.
Yeah,
especially the monthly banners.
Yeah, the monthly banners. I still help put them together, but I've kind of been handing that off to other people just because I was like, 2 jobs, Bond of Legends, and all these other things I'm trying to do simultaneously and survive. I'm like, I need to start giving things to other people to do.
Understandable.
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm mostly there for event planning and stuff like that, but otherwise I just kind of go on the Discord to hang out and look at people's artwork, and I use it to chat with people who are gonna be involved in Bond of Legends. But no, there's a lot of great projects, other projects and other artwork and writing and music, a lot of awesome stuff on the Discord, and I just like being there to experience it.
Agreed. I totally love it. Thank you so much, Joey, for your interview. And before we end it, I want to ask you to shout out your socials again.
Yeah, so I'm only on Instagram and YouTube. Actually, I'm on YouTube as well. I don't have a lot going on there, so... No, but on YouTube, I'm just JoeyJ, and you'll find I'm making a soundtrack for the entire Bond of Legends comic, and I post the music for the soundtrack there. I only have 2 songs on there at the moment, though, so not a lot is going on there.
Great.
But
they're great.
Yeah. I hope to get more on there soon, and there may even be another video of sorts that I will post on there soon as well.
Maybe a live comic reading of Bond of Legends with the voice actors.
Yeah, maybe that, yes. Yeah, I have a couple things planned for the YouTube, but not a whole lot is on there yet, but go ahead and give me a follow, JoeyJ, and then you'll see more on there soon. And then Instagram, where you can view the full comic, and as well as my other Zelda artwork and stuff, is at hey it's JoeyJ, so just HEY it's JoeyJ.
All of the socials are linked below.
Yeah, you'll see them.
You'll find them below. Go give Joey a follow, it's really worth the follow. The comic is great, I love reading the updates, and I'm excited to see what else is coming up. Great job. Joey's comic is heavily focused on Breath of the Wild 2, and this is our big topic for this episode, Breath of the Wild 2 discussion and what we think about it and what's out there. If you're worried about any spoilers, leaks, they're going to be discussed at the end, and we're going to give a spoiler warning before we talk about it. But at first we're going to start off talking about the delay and our prediction when it's actually finally be released, or when do we think we have a new trailer.
Yes.
Luna, do you want to start maybe talking about it? How do you feel about the delay?
I'm personally okay with it. You know, it gives them more time to fix any bugs, which, you know, Nintendo's really good about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's very true.
In the end, I'm not so bummed about it, you know. I just think they kind of gave us the first trailer a bit too soon. They just got the people's hopes a bit high too early, and then it's just crazy that nothing else is coming out. Basically leaving people on the dry. Nothing's coming out, nothing's being said, and everybody's just shaking each time there's a new direct. It's really funny because we've been having these watch parties.
Yeah, just waiting and getting nothing.
We're just sitting there waiting every time, but nothing ever comes. It's so it's frustrating, but it's so funny. Every time after the watch party, I just can't stop giggling, and we keep making jokes and making memes. It's the greatest.
It's kind of just like shrug your shoulders at this point. Like, what were you expecting?
Yeah, we're not expecting anything anymore.
Nope.
Yeah, I do wonder like what caused them to push it back. I'm sure like at the beginning there was probably like COVID and all that stuff, but at this point I'm like, is that still the issue, or is it's gotta be some other reasons at this point?
Yeah, I think COVID definitely had like a huge impact on it, and then like on top of that with the chip shortage and everything like that, I'm sure it's still affecting everything now.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they say spring. I'm kind of curious. March is technically spring, right?
Yeah.
So like, do you think they're gonna release it the exact same time that they released Breath of the Wild? Because Breath of the Wild was also in March, right? In 2017.
Well, I noticed that too.
Yes.
So...
Oh my gosh, you guys! I just looked at the calendar. Guess what day is Friday in March? The first Friday in March.
What?
It's the 3rd. It's the 3rd.
Oh my gosh.
They're going to release it on. I'm going to say it right now. March 3rd, Breath of the Wild 2 release. It's a Friday. It's coming together, guys.
I think, is that something worth putting on the...
Mark it in your calendar, guys. I'm calling it right now.
Yeah, let's... What were you gonna say, Lunar, about that?
Oh, like, I'm sure you guys have noticed though too, like, Nintendo usually releases their bigger franchises in March compared to, you know, like April or May. So that could be a clue.
That's true.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of stuff does come out in March, huh?
Yeah. Kirby came out in March. Fire Emblem was that one?
I'm not sure. I didn't quite follow the release this time.
I haven't been following Fire Emblem.
No, neither.
Neither have I, but like with just like in general, like with
who's following it?
The big names, they always come out on like the same month versus like smaller titles that will come out like in the other months. So like they get top priority.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Before the delay was announced, we all believed that it was November. But then the Pokemon Direct came out and said that Gen 9 will come out in November, and as soon as they announced that, I knew Breath of the Wild is not going to make it in November.
You know what would be funny is like, it's gonna be, is it 5 or 6 years? Yeah, it would be six years later, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if they did release it on March 3rd, it would be exactly 6 years later from the release of Breath of the Wild. And then it would be funny if like the events took place exactly 6 years after the event of the first Breath of the Wild.
That'd be smart.
Wouldn't that be cool? I don't know if they'll do it. I've heard a lot of theories that it's like 2 years
I've
later
seen the
or
2
something.
years later thing.
But it would be cool if they did that.
It would be cool. It would give the people and towns a little bit of more time to expand. Because that's something I would really enjoy in Breath of the Wild 2 is having more cities to explore and
100%.
having more towns and more people to talk to. That's something that I'm really looking forward to. I don't know if they're going to do that, but I hope.
Yeah.
I do too. And I just want to pet a dog.
Let's pet the dog.
Pet the dog. And include cats.
Yes.
Cat appreciation.
I want cats.
I miss all the cats
the
from Twilight Princess had all the cats, and we need to bring them back.
And the dogs. And you could pick it up.
Yes.
That's true. Yeah.
Twilight Princess is superior because of that reason alone.
Yes.
Yes. Agreed.
What else do you guys want to see?
I was thinking like the bingo card.
Oh, the bingo card, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Sky Colored Art on Discord suggested that we're making a bingo card. And we're going to do that now, and we're going to release it. And when Breath of the Wild 2 comes out, actually on 3rd of March, we're going to revisit it and see if we check up any boxes.
Yes. Yes, then we can show everyone how right we were or wrong.
Our first prediction coming out on March 3rd.
That's the prediction. Got it. Okay, we all agree on that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I suggest a prediction?
Yes.
Okay, nothing to really do with the plot or anything, but I do predict that we're gonna have a lot more things that we can do to accessorize, because you know the one thing I didn't like in Breath of the Wild was that pants and shoes were one and the same.
Yeah, it's kind of
like
annoying.
Like, I want to be able to change pants and then have different shoes, or like maybe not wear shoes with certain pants. Maybe I want to show feet.
Making a bit of extra bucks on the side.
Yeah.
Some extra money.
But it was like, yeah, I think they could do a lot with that, with just having a few more options for ways that you can change your clothes and stuff.
Also more fun stuff, maybe.
Yes. So more accessories. Do we all agree?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. That's the one I'm throwing.
I have a suggestion.
I would really like to see more towns, even like in the process of building new towns, or even like some of the old ones.
Expanding, like, yeah.
Yeah. I was having a discussion with someone at some point. We were talking about some of the kind of hidden villages in Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
Yeah. So getting, like, maybe those have some more importance and are actually brought back. Yeah, like you said. Yeah, that'd be super cool. Yeah, I think I would think that a lot of those towns are inspired by the Hudson and Bolson and those guys.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like they're gonna expand their business. I know it.
Yeah.
I would love to see Terrytown like get expanded, you know, like somehow maybe they add more platforming to like expand that little island that they're on. Yeah.
All throughout a color.
Yeah, because that's another thing to build off of the new towns idea is like I want to see more races and species like in the same towns together, because you go to a lot of the towns and there'll be like maybe one in Zora's Domain. You get like one Goron and it's like more
like they're only visiting or something. Like I want them to live there.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I just
generally more people. I feel it's really empty.
Yeah, like I kind of get why there aren't a lot of races in like the main towns, you know, but there's a lot of in between towns that could be created that are in between, you know, like okay, in between Rito Village and Gerudo Town. There could be some villages in between there where you see a lot of like both Rito and Gerudo. It's like make it happen.
Yeah, like the one that was destroyed. They can rebuild it and then like add more races.
Are there any specific races that we want to see come back, like from past games?
Loftwings. I want more Loftwing.
Yes.
Do you think they'll come back?
I think some form of them will come back. Like in
with the sky being such a heavy focus, I feel like you have to add something flying, or else it wouldn't make sense. Like horses on land.
Yeah, just like how do you get up into the sky?
Yeah. Maybe they'll have maybe there'll be like horse stables, but it'll be Loftwing stables, and you have to oh my god, what if you have to actually like skydive off an island and like hope that you land on a wild Loftwing?
It'll be so great. Oh my gosh.
You still have the energy meter, so if you run out of if you run out of energy, then you just like get kicked off and you just fall to your doom.
Like, in insta death for failing to catch a Loftwing. I love
that. You just have to hope you time it just right. That'd be hilarious.
It's amazing. I just want them back. I love them so much.
Yes. We need wild Loftwings. I definitely think if not Loftwings, there's going to be something that we or some creature, or maybe it's a technological Sheikah kind of deal that we use. I don't know. Maybe you know what? Maybe we kind of saw it in the trailer, the second trailer, that there was like new and improved paraglider. Maybe we'll get to have like multiple paragliding options. There'll be a place to like buy advanced. Yeah, customize it, or maybe for decoration purposes, and maybe also for like
abilities,
certain usages. Like some are
speed.
Some are faster. Maybe some are able to. You can control them better. Maybe you can like switch out parts.
Maybe you can catch like an updraft, and like in Avatar: The Last Airbender, like Aang and his air glider. That would be cool.
Yeah, we gotta have one of those.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that'd be so cool. Yeah, I hope that there's ways to like, that's a theory I'm putting out there. I theorize that we're going to have customizations for that. Aang like air glider. Yes. Yeah, no, that'd be a super cool idea.
What else? I want every champion descended to make a healthy and safe return. And I want to see them healthy and safe until the end of the game.
Yes.
No devs, please. I can't take another one.
I would like to see some more like background on the 4 champions, like the Urbosa and that group of champions.
Yeah.
The first ones that we know.
Yes.
I just feel like they're, especially with Age of Calamity, we got to see a lot more of them, but I would like to see more of those kind of interactions, even if it's gonna have to be flashbacks, because they're kind of gone.
Maybe they'll join us in spirit, like the spirits fly, like in Phantom Hourglass. No, it was Spirit Tracks. Sorry, like in Spirit Tracks.
I haven't played that one, so I don't know.
Me neither.
Oh,
but I know Zelda is dead, and she like joins you as a spirit in an armor.
Yeah. Well, it looked like
that.
their spirits like kind of faded away into like the heavens or something at the end of the game. Yeah. So I don't know if they'll do that or not, but I would like to know more about them, because although I love them all dearly, I felt like what we got from them in Breath of the Wild was very vague. And they all seemed like really cool characters that I'd like to know more about. I don't know if that's going to actually happen in the game or not, the Breath of the Wild 2. I feel like out of all the theories, I feel like that one's a little less likely. I feel like they're going to move on to new characters.
I think they may end up like passing on it though, because of Age of Calamity.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, well, you already got that.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, that's why we made Age of Calamity, so that we could move on. It's like, no.
I'm very thankful for Age of Calamity, but I need more.
I know.
I need them back. And I feel like they're so ingrained in Breath of the Wild, whole fabric of existence, that they just cannot not come back.
Yeah.
What else? Maybe some crafting system.
Yes.
Ooh.
Like you can make your own weapons.
Being able to fix your weapons. Like adding a blacksmith.
Yes, please. And rain armor. Can we get rain armor?
A little raincoat for Link with little rain boots.
I will say my unpopular opinion. A lot of the things that people don't like about Breath of the Wild, I really like. Yeah. People talk about how difficult it is to traverse and stuff, and I'm like, that's part of the survival. You need to
that's the point.
But exactly, I get why they want things like rain armor, because that one felt a little bit unnecessary to have so much rain happen. But like, still, it's a weird desire, but I actually kind of want less teleportation places. There was like 1 billion shrines that we could teleport to that I didn't really have a reason to like use my motorcycle or horse or whatever that much. That's the other thing. The motorcycle made the horses completely useless. Like you don't need them anymore. So. And I liked having the horses.
I still use my horse.
I use my horse a lot too. Like sometimes I just want to ride and I don't want to use my hands. I want to eat something while I play Breath of the Wild and I just want to ride.
Yeah.
The motorcycle I liked a lot of that.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with the beginning of the game because there is a whole lot more of that survival method. And I get it, like, the idea is, like, you get better and you don't need to survive as much. But, like, whenever I go back on to play now, when my whole game is already complete and I'm all beefed up and awesome, like, I still would like to experience some more of those survival methods. So, I don't know. I don't know if they will work on that for the sequel.
Yeah, maybe have extended crafting system where you can build stuff like tents to be safe from monsters and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd make it feel more.
Or like harvest animal fur stuff from sheep.
Yeah.
It's so much potential they have there.
That's true. Okay, I think for the next theory, I think we need to touch upon whether or not we think it's going to be multiplayer or not. Because that's a big topic that people like to discuss.
I don't think so.
I don't
Zelda
think it's gonna be
really multiplayer unless it was a specialty. Like there are Zelda games that are specifically marketed to be multiplayer games, like for Swords Adventure, Triforce Heroes. But then it's like the whole gimmick of the game. So I don't think so. What do you guys think? What's our prediction going to be?
Lunar, you go first.
I don't know. I think if anything, maybe we get like flashes to what Zelda is experiencing as we're, traversing.
That's true.
Yeah, but other than that, I don't think it's going to be multiplayer.
I'm kind of on the same boat. If they are going to do it at all, it's going to be like a small side thing. But I don't think they'll do it. And I'm on the side of I don't want them to do it.
No.
Again, another possibly unpopular opinion, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, we need playable Zelda. I'm like, I don't want that. And
You don't want to play Zelda?
no, I don't want to.
Okay.
Because
I'm going to delete that prediction then.
it's not like, I mean, the prediction is I don't think it's going to happen anyway, but my personal opinion is I don't want it to happen.
Okay.
And I know that's like people are going to be throwing hands, but because like the whole like awesome thing about what made Breath of the Wild so cool was like you're playing as Link and you're in this kind of survival mode. You're in this place where you're learning stuff for the first time again. You don't remember whatever. And Link doesn't talk.
Mm-hmm.
But they especially they really like to drive that home, especially in Breath of the Wild, because he has very little background about him. And I think that's because they wanted us to be able to like experience the character on our own, like be one with the character, you know? Because there's a lot of people who are like, oh, Link obviously was in love with Zelda, and other people are like, no, they were obviously friends. And that's the beauty of it, because we don't know. Like, we don't know 100% for sure. It's just people's perception of the character, because you're kind of like putting yourself in the game. And I think that was the whole idea. So when you include a second character, not only are you now two different characters, so it feels less like you're part of the story, because you're like, well, I'm controlling two people. That doesn't make sense. How it feels less like you're experiencing it, because you know, when you experience something, you're usually just one person. So when you throw in a second character, it takes away that aspect of, oh, I'm inserting myself into the game. And the other thing is they put a lot of attention on Zelda and who she is. So we already, we can't put ourselves in Zelda's position. We can't make up who Zelda is, because they already tell us pretty clearly who Zelda is. Because she talks a lot and people have experiences with her and stuff, and there's a lot to be said about her. She has a lot of thoughts and feelings. So we can't insert ourselves into that character. So I feel like it would feel really out of place if we were able to play as Zelda. That's why I think that's why they made Age of Calamity, because it's like a completely different thing. It's separate from this, so we get
to play whoever you want.
Yeah, we get to experience
and don't complain
that
for
without
Breath
it
of the Wild 2.
Exactly. We get to experience all those characters without it disrupting the narrative and the flow of the Breath of the Wild series, you know?
Yes, I see what you mean.
That's my 2 cents. If we do get playable Zelda, I'm not going to be mad. It's just not my first desire.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
But do you guys think that Link will have some special new abilities?
Yeah, totally. I mean, we already saw some of it, but
other
abilities though, what else could
other abilities have? For example, I would really, I know it's not going to happen, but I would really love it if we could change forms again, play as a Sora or play as Link as a Rito for this time.
Okay,
really cool.
So you're still a Link, but you're like Majora's Mask,
similar to Majora's Mask. It's
that
not
would
going
be
to
cool.
happen. I know it. I'd love it.
We don't know. It could.
I could.
But
should I
add
it? Should I add it to a prediction?
Yeah, you know what? I think add it, because when we get to the leak section, I want to explain more of why I think that could be a possibility.
Okay. Joey has the tea.
Ooh, the tea or something.
What do you think, Luna?
I would like to see dungeons and temples again.
Mm-hmm.
And based on the trailers that we have gotten, it kind of seems like it's alluding to the return of them. So I think they're coming back.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm down for that. I want that, and I think it will happen.
100%.
Yes. I would also really like for us to be able to swim underwater again.
Yes.
Yes.
That's where the Sora comes in.
Yes.
It all makes sense, guys.
I'm down with that, and I do think they're gonna do that.
Because I'm convinced that there's a temple at the bottom of Hyrule, like always.
Yes. A big temple, in the area of Lurelin Village.
Yes.
Lurelin.
Yeah, there's potential there. I thought, you know, when you get that Xenoblade armor that you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I didn't know what Xenoblade was. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh crap, can we use this to go underwater? Because it just looks like scuba gear. So I was like,
scuba
oh my
gear.
gosh. Okay, cool. I don't know Xenoblade if it's just for show or if it's like actually used as...
No, I'm obsessed.
So do they actually use it to go underwater when do they actually use it as scuba gear?
Rex is one of those deep diver people.
Oh, okay.
He's a scavenger, so he goes below the cloud sea. So that's where the scuba gear comes in.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally tried to use it when I got it in the DLC. I was like, maybe they made a secret and you can use this to go underwater. So I like tested it out in a few places and I was like, this is dumb. This is not working.
Disappointing.
I was so disappointed. But I do strongly believe that they will have, even if it's just like one dungeon or something where you can go underwater.
I beg and I pray.
Beg and pray, please.
Please, let me be a Sora. Let me be a Rito. I want nothing else.
Yeah.
Just an empty game, but I'm a Sora or a Rito. Please.
Yeah.
This is your final spoiler warning. We are going to talk about leaks that have been discussed lately that came out. And before you leave, I want to remember to follow Zelda Creators on Twitter and Instagram and join our Discord for discussions, for updates on the podcast. And we see you next time. And everybody else, keep watching.
Stay.
Stay. Now it's going to be juicy.
Is there only the one leak that came out from the voice actor?
I'm not sure. I've not been keeping up with it as much.
Well, that's the
I've
one we
become
know
kinda
about.
numb.
I don't think I've seen anything else other than the voice actor coming back.
All right. Well, that one's a lot to talk about on its own.
Yes.
If I may.
Yes, Joey.
With your idea of possibly transforming into different races, for anyone who doesn't know and wants to know about the leak, if you're still here, the leak was basically that there was a voice actor, I believe it was one of the Italian ones.
Yes.
I don't know.
Daruke's Italian voice actor, I think.
Yeah, one of the voice actors for the, Breath of the Wild 2. I don't even remember, he was being interviewed or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was... I think it was like a private thing, like a fan publication, I think it was.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen it for myself, but someone else just, spoiled it for me. So
I saw a video on it.
What I know is that he says that there's going to be a big focus on the ancestors of the champions. So like the ones that we see in the tapestry, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So... And he said something about like being able to reconnect with them in some sort of way. So what if that's what they do? They do like the Majora's Mask, but instead you are the past champions.
Oh, God,
like
Joey,
so you can like play as them.
I would love that so much.
You like bring them into the present by being them. Maybe the hand thing does something with that. I don't know. That's all I wanted to say about your...
Imagine they have different designs to the races we have now.
Yeah.
There would be more like the Twilight Princess or the Ocarina of Time Zora.
That would be so
the
cool.
Rito would be Wind Waker Rito. It would be really cool, actually. I would love that.
Yeah, it'd be awesome to like see those old designs redone.
Or like a completely different and new design. I think they're just going to look very different.
Yeah, in some shape or form. That would be awesome. And what do you guys think is going to be like their purpose, How are we going to...
I think it'll have to do like with the broken master sword, like he's got to go fix it, right? So maybe it has something to do with that, like revisiting the past.
Yeah, maybe they have like technology or something from the past that can bring life back into it. Maybe Link being able to go to the past is able to undo what happened to the sword, if that makes any sense. Like it put like time reversal. I don't know. It's a theory that's completely different from the one I've been working with for my comics, so it's kind of hard to like consider other theories, but there's potential there. Yeah,
I also think the ancestors are going to be heavily involved in like the story. The thing I believe it's going to be focused on like the story, like they have to go back to the past and maybe find out how to defeat Ganondorf from back then, from them, like you learn something from them, you get something from them, they help you, something like that. And
that would be cool. Yeah, maybe they give you information.
Maybe you have to travel back to the ancient times and bring the champions back, and then travel back 100 years and bring our current champions back. So you have 3 champions working with you for each divine beast.
Oh my god, that's insane. That might be cool too, because I bet the ancient champions, the first champions, they might know a lot more about the divine beasts.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were actually taught properly.
Yes.
Because, like, when we get to the champions from 100 years ago, we were like, we don't know what the heck these are, but we learned how to, like, operate them, kind of. So...
Yeah, they learned it on a whim.
The ancient descendant champions could probably be like, you've only been using them to shoot lasers? Did you know that they could, like, throw ginormous razor saw boomerangs or whatever, Like, I bet we'll just, like, learn that divine beasts can do a lot more than we knew about,
Unlock some new great abilities for the divine beasts. Maybe they can even change the land or something.
Yeah.
Dig up under Hyrule, find Zelda.
And the whole leak about there possibly being the descendants and all of that, it makes me believe a bit more that the hand or whatever that's holding back Ganondorf could possibly be like the past hero.
Yeah, Joey,
it leads a lot more into that idea.
It makes so much sense, actually.
Yeah.
Joey, you're so smart.
I was never like super interested in that idea, but it seems like it's possible now. I mean, I'm down for it.
Imagine Link has to just leave his arm there.
I know, like, why is it just the arm? Why? What happened?
Maybe he disintegrated or something over time, like Greek statues.
The poor guy. Yeah. Oh yeah, maybe part of the mission is to like reform whoever it is.
Imagine that just ends there, like you as Link have to just stay there and the game ends. That would be so... What? They said something about the game being way darker, right?
Yeah.
I always wondered what they meant by that. Did they actually mean darker, like, mentally, or did they just mean it's gonna be, like, in the cave, so it's just, like, physically darker? They're like, it's gonna be spooky, like, we're in the caves, there's no light.
No, I think it's going to be I think they said, like, way darker than Majora's Mask. I think it's going to be, like, scary. Dark,
I hope so.
Heavy themes. Yeah, that's how it ends. Link dies. We move on to another portion of
everyone
the
dies!
universe.
I've been craving for another dark Zelda game. It's been too long.
Yeah.
But I don't want to cry. Like, nobody has to die. Except Link.
No, everyone dies. Sorry.
Everyone dies. That's the title. Breath of the Wild 2, everybody dies.
That would be the last one.
Yeah, do we have...
Luna, what did you say?
It's the way that we started off with the last one. Everyone was dead.
That's
true.
You're
correct.
And I like that. I like that they actually killed them off.
Yes.
I like that they took that chance and, like, killed off characters. Because that's one of, like, my pet peeves with a lot of media recently. Not even just recently, just, like, overall. Is, like, when... they opt out and they're like, oh, just kidding, they weren't dead, or like we brought them back to life, blah blah blah. Like, just commit to it.
Yeah, no
like
plot
let
armor
people
for you.
be sad. Let people be sad and accept the death. Like,
yes,
it's interesting that way. But whatever.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes it can work sometimes to bring characters back to life. It depends on your story, whatever. But I think one last thing that we could...
what our title predictions are.
Yes, title predictions.
Well, I saw a thing that said that it could be Breath of Duality.
Okay. Duality between the hand and Link? Is that the kind of duality they're considering?
Oh, you mean Link and Zelda?
It could be like a time, related to time.
Oh, yeah. Duality of time.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, I see that's reasonable.
Yeah, I definitely think it's gonna be something of the something. Like, I think they're just gonna keep that going, just to, like, tie it all into the whole Breath of the Wild deal. I wonder now, with the leak, I wonder if it's gonna be, like, Return of the Ancients or something like that.
I love that. Oh.
Did you guys hear that there's possibly, I don't know if it was confirmed or not, but there's possibly a Summer Direct? Like Nintendo Summer Direct.
I mean, there has to be.
Do you think we'll get the title?
The title?
For It might be kind of soon. I don't know if we're gonna get any more Breath of the Wild 2 information from this direct, because I just feel like they might wait till the holidays to talk more about it. But maybe. Since this leak came out, if the title has something to do with the ancestors, they might as well tell us now, because the leak is already out there.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm still gonna play it regardless.
I know. I don't know what they're
As
doing.
if you telling us the title now would deter the Zelda fans. Really? You could tell us the whole plot and we would be still buying the game.
That's why I'm wondering, like, do you think they're just gonna be like, screw it, like, let's just tell them since there's already leaks out there? Like, I don't know.
Nah, it's Nintendo. They're going to wait until like holidays.
Yeah, they're just gonna pretend the leak didn't happen.
Like, they're going to tell us in January.
Yeah, they
No, I'm not
probably
jinxing
got
it.
that guy like they got like tape over the guy's mouth now. They're like, you speak no more of this.
No more.
How dare you?
Are we going to recast Daruk in Italian?
Yeah. Yeah, suddenly he's got a completely different actor. They just
I hope all of the current ones in English return. I like them.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a title prediction, you?
I have no idea. Maybe something with time. Breath of the Wild 2, Ocarina of Time. I don't know.
The Ocarina of the Time. Completely different.
Back to the Past or something. I can imagine they do that. That'd be so strange.
Return of the Ocarina.
Return of the Ocarina.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild 2. Guess what? It's Ocarina of Time.
Alright.
That's the whole story. You go back to Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
And the ancients are just like Darunia, Ruto. Yeah, that was our episode. Thank you guys so much for being on with me, for having such a great interview with Joey, and having such a fantastic discussion. We are going to release our bingo card on social media, and you guys can all check it out, leave your own opinions, your own predictions, and don't forget to follow Zelda Creators on Instagram, Twitter, and our Discord server, as well as YouTube now.
Yes.
See you guys next episode.
See ya.
Bye.